Hi, my name is Kaisie Rayner and I'm delighted to be speaking to you today. So I work in financial services and my job is helping financial institutions understand climate change and what their role is in enabling the transition to a low carbon economy. I understand your topic is around homes and communities, how we plan services, how we deliver them, and importantly, how we pay for them. The area of finance that I work in is pensions and investments, and most of you will be familiar with what a pension is. There are broadly two different kinds. A defined benefit pension where your employer will pay you a guaranteed amount when you retire, or if you're from a younger generation, you may have a defined contribution or DC pension. This means that you and your employer contribute by paying in a regular amount, but the amount you get when you retire is not yet determined. It will be determined by where your money is invested. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. Where is the money in our pensions invested, and how can we make sure that it's invested in things that will help create a future that we all want to live in? So in the UK, there is around £2.2 trillion invested in pensions. Most of that is currently in defined benefit pensions, with around 200 billion of it invested in DC pensions, which are growing by around 10% per year. So that's about £20 billion that we're investing every year. Now, why is that important? Most of the DC pension money today is currently invested in companies, really big companies. If you're a UK pension holder, then the top companies in your pension will probably be the biggest companies in the UK market, which include BP, Shell, and British American Tobacco. These companies create the world around us, but they're incentivized to make a financial profit above all else, with little regard to the impact that they have on people, society, or the planet. This prioritization of profit is at the heart of the market system, and if you get the chance, I would recommend watching the BBC Reith lectures, as Mark Carney goes into this in some detail. As he explains, there are limits to the market. It is focused on profit, and it doesn't have a moral compass. So we as society need to give it rules, boundaries, and regulations in which it needs to operate. So, if there's all this money in pensions, how do we get it into place-based solutions? And how do we make sure it's delivering good outcomes for people, planet, and profit? At the moment, we have a way to get money into public coffers. One of the ways that we do that is through the UK government issuing debt. And pension funds today buy up huge amounts of government debt. More than a quarter of the 2 trillion pension fund money I spoke about earlier is invested in government debt. But as we have seen, governments, or at least central governments, don't always allocate the money effectively and tend to put it back into the market. You've no doubt seen the news over the course of the last week or two about free school meals, which, given to a private company to deliver, led to awful outcomes. One of the ways that other countries have dealt with this is to enable local councils who need to raise money to do that for themselves, putting the control back into the hands of the place that is trying to make the transition. One of the ways that this can be done is that instead of central governments issuing bonds, which then gather up money from pension funds, local councils could issue these bonds instead. By allowing the council to raise the money, it reduces the bureaucracy that the money has to travel through to get from where it is, in the pension fund, into the projects that can make a difference. The second part is around changing what we measure. By doing this, we can get to the heart of the problem of the market, which prioritizes financial outcomes, and seek to address this by incorporating wider measures. These could be about community resilience, good environmental outcomes, but really just starting to measure what matters to us as a community rather than just financial return, and changing the measures of success so that it helps us to deliver the society that we want. So if I were to distill that into a clear recommendation, it would be to unlock the power of our collective pension savings so that we can invest in local initiatives that have positive social and environmental outcomes, as well as financial returns. But for this to succeed, it is important that we undertake further work to explore how we could support councils in issuing local government transition-focused bonds, and that the bonds be given a credit rating that is similar to a sovereign, so that they are credible alternatives for UK pension funds. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to meeting you at the Q&A session.